Hello, you're welcome to the Citi Newsroom. My name is Vivian Lokko.
And mine is Umaru, Sanda, Amadu. Coming up.
Hundreds of farmlands along the White Volta in Upper East region destroyed following the spillage of the Bagre Dam.
Now, just come 8 acres. The water takes. Now my child plus my wife, we don't have anything before. They want that the government will help us.
Also coming up, we take a look at new outdoor campaign strategies likely to be rolled out by political parties in the era of COVID-19.
There is the new trend of the social media, which is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, and what have you.
Also coming up, schools begin rolling out special COVID-19 protocols for students who have finished writing their WASI to enable them return to their homes.
I'll miss the life in the dormitory, how we all get together, move together, especially Bart's house, we all back in the big hall. I'm going to miss that, and sleeping alone in my room is going to be something new to me.
And later, we take you to the Central Region exploring the history behind one of the famous landmarks there, the London Bridge.
If you get closer to the bridge, actual bridge now, you have a very place you are under the bridge. You're sure you're relaxing, you see. The contractor went to me and said, previous one, we were complaining.
Let's bring you details of our stories. And President Akufo-Addo has reacted angrily to what he calls ethnocentric comments made by former President John Mahama about the Achims in Ghana.
Nana Akufo-Addo says comments by Mr. Mahama that some, quote, Achim Sakawa people, unquote, are fleeting the nation over the Japan deal cannot be accepted.
Now, Nana Akufo-Addo was speaking at a meeting with the leadership of the Catholic Bishop Conference at the Jubilee House.
The comment made by my opponent, Achim Sakawa people, I've not heard any public figure in this country, independent, yourselves or anybody, comment on it. It's completely unacceptable. If I was to get up to make a comment about Northerners or Gunchas, you can imagine the uproar that would be in the country. Presidential candidate, a former president of Ghana, you can call a group of Ghanaians, Sakawa people, and it involves the group for which the sitting president comes, and that comment goes without, that statement goes without comment. And at the same time, we hear these statements. Let's all try and bring the politics of insults to an end, etc., etc. The occasions are given where specific comments can be made. Nothing happens, and then it's lost. It's lost in the generalities. I get the impression that because of the unfortunate, in some ways, authoritarian origins of our state in its where it was considered dangerous to criticize government, the pendulum has now swung the other way, where government is the only group you can criticize. If you criticize government, no matter what you say, is legitimate. If government was to respond, that's somehow illegitimate. Media freedom is interpreted as meaning the freedom to criticize others, but you can't criticize the press. If, for instance, they step out of bounds or they conduct themselves in an irresponsible manner. So all of this, I'm trying to say that it's a package that we all have to look at dispassionately.
Now, we still stay with politics, and with barely a few months into the 2020 general elections, many Ghanaians are anxious over the potential health implications, especially as the COVID-19 pandemic is still raging. Now, some political parties have already begun their travels across the country to spread their campaign messages to electors. But how will the coronavirus impact political campaigning, and what new strategies are the leaders of the various political parties putting in place to safeguard lives? Citi News' Nashi Kasiza has been exploring that.
The COVID-19 pandemic has brought in its wake profound political crisis, leaving several governments in a dilemma as to whether or not to proceed with scheduled elections. With over 23 million recorded infections in 188 countries across the globe and over 800,000 deaths, the threat of the coronavirus cannot be overstated, and governments have had a hard call to make on whether to let democracy prevail or put the safety of citizens first. According to the International Foundation for Electoral Systems, IFES, a total of 109 election events have been postponed globally. However, a director of advocacy and policy engagement at the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD, Dr. Kodra Santi, insists that, notwithstanding the pandemic, elections are crucial.
The tenure of the president is fixed. It cannot change. Come January 6, midnight, President Akufo-Addo's tenure ends. The Constitution does not make any other room for an extension of any kind. So that puts us in a very difficult situation. There are all kinds of permutations outside of the president's extension of his tenure, which might implicate the speaker and so on. But these are very kind of remote arrangements, which we have never tried it before. So the short of it is that come December 7th, we have to have elections.
Ghana is one of the countries whose governments have taken what some describe as the controversial decision of going ahead with elections, despite the risk. But political parties have allayed these fears. Peter McMahon is a campaign manager of the ruling New Patriotic Party NPP, and has been detailing the new campaign strategies his party has put in place to curb the spread.
There were mass rallies. We were together. We were dancing together. We were shaking our hands, holding our hands together, etc. At rallies, at Bukom, at Accra Stadium, etc. But now, we cannot do that. So you ask yourself, how then do you get the message, the information, the message to the voter? The first one is radio. Radio is a very powerful tool to get a message to a large number of people, particularly in the rural areas. TV is also another powerful medium. But that aside, there is a new trend of the social media, which is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, and what have you. We have been using that, and we are going to use that very well, particularly for the newly registered voters aging between 18 to 35. But you see, internet connectivity in Ghana is not 100%. So it's not everybody that can come under the coverage of the social media. So you have to look at the traditional method. That is the one-on-one, not in large groups. We train people to go so that social distancing and the protocols under COVID-19 are enforced and obeyed.
Montaka Mubarak is an NDC Member of Parliament for the Aswasi constituency in the Shanti region, and he also stresses the need to follow the safety protocols during campaign.
I mean, you need to be alive to vote. So don't say because of election processes you want to do things that may, God forbid, you fall ill and then you die. Then what? To what end? Then the very reason why you are struggling to register, to campaign, to do what? If you die before the election day, then what? To what end? Then it has not been helpful. This process, when we're doing Facebook Live. our aim is to go online with our campaign. We'll go online with our campaign, and I'm assuring you, it's most likely that we'll even launch our campaign in September, maybe first or second week of September, and we'll do it online. And we'll take our campaign online to ensure that we'll reach out to our people. People hear our message, people know what we are in for, without necessarily the large gathering and possibly spreading the disease. So that's what we intend to do.
Some parliamentary candidates have also been speaking about how they will go about their campaigning this year.
So the impact of COVID-19 on our campaigning in this year's election is both positive and negative. It makes it a lot more expensive and a lot more difficult, because now you cannot gather huge crowds. Now you need to get to the grassroots. Definitely COVID-19 has had a very, very big impact on political campaigning all over the world. As it is now, you cannot have the huge rallies and the big crowds that we've been having in a traditional campaign. But necessity is a matter of invention.
A number of countries that have gone ahead with elections have recorded an impressive turnout. In Poland, for instance, the presidential elections were held, but they recorded a 0% turnout in what is being deemed a ghost election, proving that some people have reservations about going out to vote in the midst of a pandemic. But Mr. McMino is optimistic that this will not be the case in Ghana.
To say coming events cast their shadows. The recent voter registration, many people were saying because of the COVID, people will not come out to register. And I think you agree with me that it was a very successful voter registration. The numbers are quite good, the numbers that got registered. So I think that looking at that trend, I can predict that the voter turnout will be high, looking at the turnouts for the voter registration.
Dr. Santi of the CDD raised red flags about the commitment of political parties to enforce COVID-19 protocols, as he has already witnessed blatant violations of protocols during campaigns.
The most challenging part really is the campaigning period, which has begun, and we're already seeing that people are already flouting the rules, the protocols. So there's a lot of responsibility on government on what kind of protocols and education they put with the campaign period, how they're going to manage it. At the moment, the way I see it is not good, because you don't want to create conditions where the numbers start ticking up again. I think when Benin did their elections, they kind of banned campaigning, but that is not something that should be encouraged. They might ban large rallies and things like that. You might ban night campaigning, because that's where there's almost difficult, just like the way we ban nightclubs and so on and so forth. It's very difficult for you to even do social distancing during that evening. So and the campaigns, as we know, somebody's traveling from one town to the other. By the time they get to maybe the last, it's very late. The supporters come out, and before you know, you have a rally. So there could be protocols that I think put in place to ensure by the task force to ensure that we kind of still mitigate the spread of the disease. Otherwise, by the time we get to elections, you begin to see the thing.
Mr. McMino, however, admits that the pandemic will affect the usual mood of the campaign.
Like you said earlier, you used to have these huge rallies where people dance and all of that. Do you think it's going to take away from the campaign in any way?
Well, sure, the razzmatazz aspect of the campaign is going to go down, unlike the previous years. But if you want a message to sink, the best method is one-on-one.
It is my hope that all the safety protocols will be duly observed in order to avert a further spike in Ghana's case count. Reporting for Citi News from Manchagona here in Accra, my name is Nashika Caesar for Citi News.
So, politics and the flag bearer of the main opposition, National Democratic Congress, NDC, John Mahama, has said that his party is sure of winning the December general elections if Ghanaians are to compare his track record with that of President Nana Akufo-Addo.
The former president made the claim when he was addressing separate rallies in the Upper West region as part of his 4-day campaign tour of the area.
Citi News' Latif Mahama has more.
The flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, started the tour of his campaign tour of the West region in the Wa East constituency. His first port of call was at Lokko before moving to Manwe, Bulenga, Yala, Kundugu and Fonsi. The former president was met by heralded crowds through his campaign. To some party supporters, it was a moment to catch a glimpse of him, but to the chiefs and some opinion leaders, it was an opportunity to raise their concerns and to seek solutions from the flag bearer if he is elected in the December poll.
In fact, I hope your people will go to Dabo and see what is happening there. During this time of the year, sometimes our people cannot go to Dabo market because there is very, very poor disconnection of road there. Very, very poor. The bridge is there is not the best. The bridge there is not the best. I have been there myself personally. The road should be reconstructed to account for people traveling from here to Dabo and people traveling from Dabo to Duru.
We are also pleading that the roads leading to some of the communities are not more trouble at all. So we therefore plead that you should pay much attention to, especially Bel-Air to Balekong, Kundugu to Balekong Road, and Kundugu to Kunyabel. These are the major roads that need government's attention.
John Dramani Mahama charged the electorate to reject the governing New Patriotic Party due to what he described as the low pace of development that has stagnated the country by the Nanado-led administration. He said he will win the upcoming presidential elections based on the numerous infrastructural and developmental projects that the country witnessed under his regime, and blamed the NPP for abandoning key projects that were initiated by his administration.
Indeed, if you look at the Upper West region, when you talk about development, if you pass the NDC, you would find no other party. From electricity to water to roads to schools, hospitals, it is the NDC that has provided almost everything in the Upper West region. And it's unfortunate that all the development projects that we're undertaking, as soon as we left office, all of them came to a halt. But it is good. God works in mysterious ways. If we didn't have the opportunity of the MPP too coming into government, we won't be able to compare the two.
Throughout the tour, some communities mounted roadblocks to catch a glimpse of the former president, leading to delays in his arrival at some communities.
I was here in 2016, I remember. We commissioned the water project, and they say, he who gives you water gives you life, because without water, you cannot have life. There were many other projects we were working on. I remember we started the Tumu-Welembele Road. We got to Sake, and then we left office. Since then, that project has been abandoned.
Now, some residents within the Ayawaso West Wuogon municipality have expressed satisfaction at the level of work done on some roads in the area. While they praised government for the relief, others confessed they had not seen any changes on their roads. Citi News' Jifa Ametam visited the area to monitor the status of government's completed infrastructure projects and has this report.
It is a beautiful day and we are here at Ayawaso West Wuogon, checking out the nature of roads and schools that the NPP administration claims to have completed. We begin our journey at East Legon. We pass through the Oponglo Road to the UPSA Road and finally to Atrako Junction, where the government claims to have a basic school it inherited from the NDC completed. Inside, one can observe that the building is fully completed with the necessary resources to adequately teach students. From Atraco Junction, we go through the ARS roundabout to American House and finally arrive at the East Legon Tunnel, where a trader recounts the challenges he observed before the roads were constructed and how its completion has improved the experience of driving through the tunnel.
Normally, under bridge, for the past so many years ago, it was so badly, which is me. It's only one way. And right now, because of our new president, Nana Akufo-Addo was opening the road, but now it's very normal. Because at first there was too much traffic on the way, and which is very badly around the area, or which is bad. People were complaining a lot. But this year and last year, everything was being concluded by our president on the seat right now. That's what the new thing that Nana has done for us to help the road. Oh, the road helped us a lot and much, because normally people were complaining about one way and all that. You see, that was very badly in the past years. But this year, normally, it helped us a lot. Many people come and pass off and here to Nungwayan. But first, only one way. You wait, one person will wait for one side, and others will pass before the others one will come. But this year, everything was normal. When they open it, they open widely for everybody to pass and get right for everybody. So everybody feel comfortable with it. So we congratulate you. Oh, for my work, any people who comes around, they feel comfortable with the road and all that. Many people will admire the road and the construction and everything. We really appreciate that. But first, it was so badly for us all.
At Agri Street on the Gimpa Road, a plant merchant alleges that he has not seen any changes on the road for the past 5 years and is also concerned by the high rates of crime in the area.
Only the traffic is catching here, and sometimes too, people around 9 to 10, that when people attacking people around for it, and there's no that dark area, and at midnight, that like 1 o'clock that way, people are attacking. So we have to close early and go house. That's the problem we have for you.
Our last stop today is the Mampobi Prison School. A young man who prefers to remain anonymous explains the progression of the project to us.
This structure or this project has been of tremendous help, because looking at the fact that formerly the school was scattered and you have part 1 somewhere and the other section also being at the other end. Now that they are in one complex, I think it's more easier for teachers to monitor and also go about their instructional hours. So that would be the positive side with this project. Then when it comes to the fact that the current government has done much, I wouldn't be able to give the exact additions they did. That would be the school administration, which can give the exact information. But in the larger sense, most of the project was completed before commissioning. Yes, so I would say, though we all agree government is supposed to be a continuation, so we wouldn't take it from the current government that they've not done anything, because there were other drainage and finishing touches which I believe they continued with that. So we can also give them credit for not abandoning the project, because we've seen it all across with these e-blocks and all that, but this school wasn't part of those abandoned projects. So I would commend the government for not neglecting it and still seeing to it that the students had to finally move from the old block into this new block.
Let's move on to some other stories. And the Auditor General has indicted the management of the Free Zones Authority for failing to recover $150,000 from 13 companies. Now, the management failed to recover the amount covering rent, land premium, and license fees. Appearing before the Public Accounts Committee to answer questions regarding the 2017 Auditor General's report, management of the authority assured the committee of measures that have been instituted to address the infractions in the report.
The Free Zones Authority is mandated to facilitate the establishment of firms in the Free Zones enclave and to regulate their activities. The 2017 Auditor General's report called into question the debt collection strategy for the authority. 13 companies were cited in the report for defaulting in the payment of ground rent and license renewal. CEO of the authority, Michael Ochibefo, responded to the audit query at the Public Accounts Committee.
Over the period, one thing that when we came, to take over the business, we realized that our credit control system was very weak. Talking about and debt collections, most of the debts that the companies owe us were not being paid because we didn't have good strategies to be able to retrieve our money. So we decided to now set up a new system. I'm talking about a new debt collection system to be able to retrieve all monies owed the organization. And therefore we put in good strategies, setting up a credit control unit, and also trying to put together a task force to be able to, and as I'm talking to you now, we've been able to collect a chunk of the money, albeit there are some left, but those are companies that are not very active operating as free zones companies, and we are seriously working to delist those companies from the concept.
He indicated that the firms that continue to default in payment will be delisted.
At the last board meeting, the board gave us the clearance to delist those companies that are inactive, because those inactive companies still have their outstanding balances on our books, which is not too good for us. So then we have to delist them so that we'll have a clean sheet. And as I'm talking to you now, the letters are ready. By next week, we'll serve them notice.
Earlier at the hearing, officials of the University of Cape Coast had to address their inability to recover funds wrongfully debited to ADB 10 years ago.
It's different if we are talking about this problem happening last year or 2 years ago. Yes. We are talking about 10 years ago.
Yes.
10 years ago.
Yes, sir.
And it's now that we are going to write another letter. Look, 10,000 Ghana cedis 10 years ago. If you look at the present value of it, this would have quadrupled several times. And Madam, if you are telling me you are going to write a letter, I don't have the assurance. If it's taking you 10 years.
Thank you, Honorable. I said we have written series of, Mr. Chairman, we have written series of letters, and we wrote the last one just last week. But still, we've not had any feedback. The first step we took was to stop operating that account, just to alert them that we are not satisfied with the business the services they are offering us. But all this, they didn't credit it. So I believe we have to take a firm decision after we have appeared before your honorable committee.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom. My name is Vivian. Lokko, I'm here with
Umaru, Sanda, Amadu.
When we come back, schools begin rolling out special COVID-19 protocols for students who have finished writing their WASI to enable the return to their homes.
We have that story and more. Don't go away.
Rigworld Solutions, forging the frameworks of Ghanaian industry. Engineering solutions from the heart of Takrade, Kejebil. At Rigworld Solutions, we manufacture industrial bolts and nuts, fasteners, hoses and fittings for the extractive and petrochemical industries. World-class products with local expertise. Locate our factory in Kejebil of the Takrade Takwa Road. Call 0302-949917 or 0540-107504. Email enquiries at rigworldsolutions.com. Rigworld Solutions, crafted in Ghana, engineered for the world.
The world is impossible without time. Time is endless motion. Make time work for you. Bet Planet. Time to bet.
Yeah, welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. Now, many senior high school graduates in Accra say they are confident of passing the West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination, WASSCE, to proceed to higher levels of education. Now, many of these students have been writing the WASSCE in their schools. Citi News' Kwekwe Diamansa went to some senior high schools in Accra, where some SHS graduates were seen packing out.
After months of uncertainty because of the coronavirus pandemic, senior high schools reopened to final year students on June 22 for them to undergo 6 weeks of academic work until July 31, 2020. The intention was to allow the candidates prepare for their final examination between August 3 and September 4 this year. The 2020 West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination, WASSCE, saw 375,737 candidates from 976 schools partake in centers throughout the country. The 2020 WASSCE, although successful, was characterized by some incidents of vandalism and gross insubordination. However, after several weeks, many final year students have graduated. A visit to the St. Mary's, Ebenezer and Apostle Sappho School of Arts and Sciences, graduates were happily moving their belongings out of the school compound. The SHS graduates were elated to have ended their 3-year education cycle, and for many of them, they will share fond memories of their time in school.
Finally, I'm going to meet my family, and then the stress and everything, like being in school is very stressful. So finally, it is all gone. It's all over. My friends, dining, the assembly we go, and then everything, like everything, my mistress, my teacher, yes.
Excited because I've missed home, I've missed my siblings, I've also missed my dad. So I'm very excited to go home to meet him. I'm going to miss the morning bell. First of all, miss the morning bell, and of course the dining. I'm going to miss the dining a lot. I think my favorite food is going to be the rice with kontomire. I really love it here.
According to the Ghana Education Service and the Ghana Health Service, for schools without recorded COVID cases in at least the past 2 weeks, graduates can leave for their houses. In this regard, the Apostle Sappho School of Arts and Sciences allowed graduates to leave after their papers.
Before going home, I think that we had to meet all the students. Almost intermittently, every 2 weeks, we meet them and then we talk to them. But this one, they are going home. So we needed to actually meet them and then tell them what they have to actually take note of. Here, we have actually confined them. So we really have parents coming in to visit them according to the president's instruction. But now they are going to their own homes. They can go anywhere they want to go. But then the virus has not gone completely. So, and you don't know who you are speaking to. At any time, you can be speaking to somebody who has a virus, you might not know. So you just have to protect yourself at all times.
For many of the students, they are confident of passing the WASSCE to further their education at the tertiary level.
I'm confident because I know what I want to. I try my best to write what I know, so I can say it's okay. I want to be at university, Univer.
It's been 3 years in school. And especially after the coronavirus, there were a lot of uncertainties. People were wondering, are we going to go back to school? Am I going to finish at all? Are we going to stay home for 4 years? All of these were concerns that were rising up and down everywhere.
Meanwhile, some commercial drivers took advantage of the occasion to make some money.
This is my 5 rounds. Yeah, my first dropping is Bojuasi.
and I take another one to Apleku, that's the old Botiano side. And the third one is Pokwasi, making me to make profit. Yeah, even yesterday I was in here. Tomorrow also I'll come here. Yeah.
Many final year students who have completed their WASI are elated, and they are actually confident that they will come out with flying colors. Let me also say that they have explained that they would not be at home idling about, but would rather learn 1 or 2 skills to help their parents while they await their results. Reporting for Citi News, my name is Kweku Ediama Ansa.
Now, the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, as CHAS, says it has begun allowing students who have finished writing their WASI to return to their homes. According to the national president of CHAS, Alhaji Yakub A.B. Abubakar, students are taken through a protocol, and especially when the school has no recorded cases of COVID-19, they are allowed to go home. Citi News' Edward Opomafo visited some senior high schools in the Ashanti region and now reports.
Following Ghana Education Services Directive for school authorities to allow students in schools that have not recorded COVID-19 cases to go home after writing their WASI, schools in the Ashanti region have begun paying heed to this directive. According to the national president of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, Alhaji Yakub A.B. Abubakar, it has been quite challenging for them to conduct academic work in the COVID-19 era. He, however, maintains that they have generally been able to handle issues very well. Speaking to Citi News, Alhaji Yakub, who is the headmaster of TI Ahmadiyya Senior High School, noted that his school, for instance, did not record a single case of COVID-19, and as such, some students have been allowed to go home, as the rest of the students who finished writing their exams on Saturday.
Some finished earlier, like yesterday and the day before yesterday. The school took them through the protocol by testing their temperatures and then other things. And when we found them to be okay without any problem, we allowed them to leave for their homes.
Some students who were preparing to leave school also spoke to Citi News.
Actually, when we come to school, we were scared, but we knew we would be protected since there were measures taken by the government, such as social distancing and distribution of sanitizer that will help keep the coronavirus. But now the cases have drastically reduced. We hardly hear of corona cases, so actually we are not afraid going back home to meet our family. We are very excited to go and meet our family after coming back to school for like 2 months and also completing our exams successfully.
Initially when we were coming, we were scared. We thought we'd contract the disease at school, but like now we don't feel it anymore, so we are okay. We are not as scared as we were when we were coming to school now.
Ahead of the reopening of school, for second-year gold and green track students, the president of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, Alhaji Yakub A.B. Abubakar, has called on government to ensure early distribution of personal protective equipment and food items to various schools across the country.
As was announced by the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, God willing, on the 5th of October, we shall be receiving the Form 2s, both green and then the gold track. As of now, the facilities in the school are available. We have been assured that they will come and do fumigation and disinfection again to ensure that even if there are diseases and viruses, they will have cleared them off to pave the way for the students to come in a very clean environment. We hope that will indeed be done before the schools reopen. Equally so, we are hoping that the PPEs that we're giving the schools, we shall receive early supplies, especially now that we know it's on the 5th of October. We expect at least a week to the reopening day, we should have gotten these things in place. I will also take this opportunity to also urge government, Ministry of Education, Ghana Education Service, that this time around, they should do well, that before the schools reopen, they supply us with the food items that we need to feed the students. Those things should come early enough. And equally so, if there are any funds to be given for us to run the school, those too should be brought early enough.
The spillage of the Bagri Dam in Burkina Faso, coupled with torrential rains, have destroyed hundreds of farmlands along the White Volta in the Upper East region. Affected farmers in the Polugu community of the Talensi district are appealing to the government to urgently intervene, as most of their farms have been submerged.
The Upper East region has been hit
by torrential rains in the past weeks and the spillage of the Bagri Municipal, Boku West, Binduri, Nabdam, and the Talensi districts. The floods have submerged hundreds of farmlands in communities along the White Volta in the 6 districts. Citi News' visit to the Palugu community, where residents farm along the White Volta, revealed that most maize farms were destroyed by the floods as farmers looked helpless about the situation. Some maize and Guinea millet farmers in Kumbangri, a suburb of the Bogotanga Municipal, was also not spared. Speaking to Citi News, some farmers at Palugu expressed their ordeal about the situation and appealed to government to urgently intervene.
Now, just from 8 acres, the water takes. Now my child got my wife, we don't have anything to talk. They want that the government will help us.
Every year it has been happening like this. The flood has been coming every year, but this year own is west. This year the flood is too much. If you can even take a video of what you have been seeing. Our maize oil is submerged. So I don't know if we are pleading to the government, if government can do something about it. Maybe the multi-purpose dam, if they construct it, it will help us. So we are pleading to government to do something. Even to feed our family is a problem.
So bala le wonte me te ka bo gwamna la ta be la an se mborate nye fula wana te don la te kata ko ko la pon te kata ko la wonte be te tembe so be gwamna la ka be to kanga po ai tinuti chimi iba tingala bo.
Farmers here in the Palugu community of the Talensi district have lost hundreds of their farmlands to the floods and torrential rains that have hit the region. They are appealing to government as a matter of urgency to come to their aid with the provision of foodstuffs and also expedite action on the construction of the Palugu multipurpose dam to allow them to engage in irrigation farming annually. For Citi News, I am Frederick Awuni, Palugu, Talensi district.
And here in our studios in Adabraka in Accra, I am Umaru, Sanda, Amadu.
Vivian, Lokko.
Still ahead on the Citi Newsroom, we'll take you to the central region to tell you the history behind one of the famous landmarks there, the London Bridge.
Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Close-up deep action with antibacterial mouthwash formula and deep cleaning gel. Close-up deep action. Enjoy long-lasting fresh breath.
Hello, my brother. It's been a long while. Your house debut. I use the finest materials for this building. I can see that. But my brother, you know, just last year you built this house. Oh yeah. When the walls started to peel off like banana due to rising down. My brother, that's been my issue. I've tried so many things, but nothing works. You know what? They even use that black rubber thing on it before the concrete casting. You mean that boiler rubber? Oh, my brother, you would have saved yourself the stress if only you used Visqueen DPM from Vertigio Limited. That'll be what my puppy used for house. And over so many years, the house till they come up.
For purchases and inquiries, contact Ventigio Limited at Spinters Road, Accra, or in Kumasi at Ushumasi Kwarasu.
Visqueen DPM, no size.
Thank you, sir. Hello, my name is Samuel Ofori, a film actor and a film director. Because of the nature of my job, the taste for quality things is endless. Quality phones, quality laptops, quality TV sets. Let me show you my secret. Here is Franco Trading Enterprise. My secret for quality laptops, quality phones, quality TV sets, accessories, come on, external hard drive, pen drive, name it. For bulk purchase and retails, come to Franco Trading Enterprise. They'll reduce the price for you. Franco Trading Enterprise. Home quality phones.
For most people who live in Cape Coast, one of the most known or most popular landmark is the London Bridge. Anybody who lives in Cape Coast knows the London Bridge. But what's the significance of this tiny bridge and why is it called London Bridge? We'll find out in this report. So the bridge itself is not a big bridge, it's just a tiny bridge. Actually, if you look at, let me make a count of how wide it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. About 11 steps from my foot, which is about size 6, which is size 6. That's the size of the bridge, which goes both ways. And the Union Jack over there and also the Ghana flag over here with something that looks like the Queen's picture painted on it. On the other side, you see the Ghanaian flag as well, and then you also see the picture of Kwame Nkrumah. And so this is just a simple bridge, but it appears to be one of the most known landmarks here in Cape Coast. Why is that the case? And we know that this bridge was erected in 1905 based on the inscriptions we have on the bridge. Let me go and speak to some residents here on what they know about this bridge. Then bridge is so popular. We are Cape Coast on bridge. And then I have friend in London Bridge.
Okay, what's in Encounter? That bridge in Martin. On your bridge, that time on your bridge. Or in Suta, or this side. This side. Now, first ridge and second ridge. Quadracraba and fancy when you're in Shinotanina or pass through her. I heard you all mixed together. It's all major straight to the sea. As I said, in this scene, she obviously are you the mere outer know you the mere offering back. In say, as an Okoda Abanaman, also the Mazar. Now the Mazar, I don't know what parliament. That time colonial government offering him. It's what kind from Parliament of London. Peter Brady for the Whisky Bridge. Public West Department. One will say them. That time I am missing from an manana.
So the bridge is to solve the flooding challenges at the time.
Exactly. It's why a bridge in the area. No, we say, bridge area, ever found a bridge, and ever friend it. Not so often London Bridge. No, why London Bridge? Because the money comes from London.
Okay.
That's the name called London Bridge.
So let me see, based on the history we've been told about the place, what people think about the London Bridge. You live around here?
Yes, please.
This bridge, do you know why they call it London Bridge?
I don't really know. I came to meet it.
But why is this so popular? Why does everybody know the London Bridge around here? Why is this so popular?
I don't actually have an idea, but all I know is when it's time for the Cape Coast Festival, like, let me say, Orange Friday, they do some program over here. So people come from their houses to come and witness it and have fun.
But you've never asked your parents why you have a London Bridge in Ghana? And you also haven't bothered to find out why you have a London Bridge. Have you taken a picture around there?
No, please.
Okay, you just come here when there are big occasions. So I'm still picking the thoughts of people on this London Bridge. I've seen a lovely woman frying egg, and I'll have to speak to her. Mommy, check what's London Bridge, I don't know popular.
Ah, if you Cape Coast, London Bridge girls.
I have friend the London Bridge.
no fun. What for London Bridge into me that higher London Bridge.
So we are sounding I'm for London Bridge. A popular part and
the Pona house said. I will be at London Bridge. If you there, I'll broach it a carbon.
London Bridge. Also, I say, Chico, say how many years?
Oh,
now yeah, he do those another.
Me at Lapia soup.
Okay.
5 years.
Okay.
It's here 1 year.
When those why and 1 year. Now more talk.
Oh, Yabayan, boys, and girls, so Yabayan.
I say fancy for the inchachos and chachos, I'm open.
Yeah.
It's about top part, it's tilapia soup.
Tilapia soup on your occasion. Okay. And on your occasion time.
Okay. But wait there, you'll be a top. Now, what on is saying?
More 5 to this room, more 4 to this room, more 10 to this room, separate in the past.
I know a test.
I'm a chicken on meat.
If you look just behind me, we are told that the symbol for the people of Cape Coast is a crab, which is also part. All this area is called the London Bridge. We are told that political rallies, big events, festivals and all that are climaxed over here. And when you don't come around this place, then really you've not been to Cape Coast. So this is where the famous crab, which is a symbol of the people of Cape Coast, is. And they're not too far away. We have the Kotokraba market. So it's the Citi Newsroom, just gauging to see the famous London Bridge and why it is famous and why we have a London Bridge here in Cape Coast when really we are not in the United Kingdom. Boss, watch out your chow. Now, I have a London Bridge.
Asian town.
Asian town. Now, you're free a London Bridge. I say about Asian town.
No. The London Bridge is the same as Asian town. When you look at the Ghana map, Cape Coast is an Asian town. So, and London Bridge also forms part of Cape Coast. So that is why we call it Asian town. And this particular bridge here, those days, the design itself, it's look at the London Bridge, the one at the London. You see 2 columns here and there's a beam, and it was a bricks. At times, your Coco share bridge in Asukran, D have gone out there because the way I'm here now. Yeah, and say at times, you know, if you are by Yanum Kolana, you can share a bridge in Asu Homonum. Yes, I will, but it's got to a time I own a bridge in a week, and contractor was a man, no. He couldn't, redesign, and now when to me I am to say, Abra, old one, let them bridge, Martin or Yan in the form of arc. But
not before, no, bricks.
Bricks we design the London Bridge, more London, Pepe. Damna not see.
Oh, your life, what I'm bringing, what do you grow, honey?
In the years I will say, if you get closer to the bridge, actual bridge now, you have very place to go under the bridge. You're sure you're relaxing, you see. And that contractor went to me and said, previous one, we were complaining. So himself don't know to me and say, the previous why is all quite your contract? Like a trimming tank, say, at the same Canada, and Kobo a lot of Nkwalana, youngsters, you know, and moreover, this is the center of the town, center of the Cape Coast Township. We're back Cape Coast in one Baha, won't call baby.
Higher popular pound, be up a some Baha. Yeah, and then there were equality,
those days, it required the time no campo, 100% previous, but occasionally to say affectional, what ball and then beja. When your baby corner was on the AC, how you clone the center Sankasa. That is why they have also praised the club, that is the Uguakoto.
More symbol, yeah. Now you say political rallies to be a won't be your own back.
Yes, it's true. I mean, you have a very large space, higher for Chapel Square. Chapel Square. But what the program call now we need like when you are like
like but the moment I say we be on London Bridge, Jesus Christ. From here to the top, from here to that end, from here to that stretch. But what under normal circumstances, can say we share the space a place like Chapel Square. Now can say I want to be very suitable for such programs. But we don't know. We don't know. We don't know the reason why. We don't know the spirit. But the moment I say then London Bridge, you see that crowd and then a doma on Baba Abasha program now participate to a program.
Now the popular we are bahani a higher business.
Oh, as for that one, the political parties so normal by rallies in Azar and Bibiawa and now Obia Bay Bibu London Bridge that at least yes, you are your turn Norman Azano in Sue and San Bibiazi Okoye Ankasa. So it is in our prayers then Kabibiano at least a month to Kwampu. There must be a twice or once a program organized by London Bridge.
So that's the most popular landmark site here in Cape Coast, the famous London Bridge. Now, if you look at the famous London Bridge, it's a very small road. Just behind me, you can hear the sounds of some spots or drinking bars there. And if you go right down, you can see a lot of food vendors, busy commercial place, not far from the Kotograba market as well. From the London Bridge, my name is Vivian Lokko.
Vivian, them London Bridge, no, I felt them. I felt.
The man's up a day and I got it right.
Charlie, you know they come. I just speak English and fancy. I've got the fancy. Every sentence get English.
I know, right? Well, that's it for today's edition of the Citi Newsroom. Log on to our website for more stories.
Subscribe to Citi Tube on YouTube for more exclusive video contents from Citi TV.
Download the Citi Newsroom app from the Google Play Store or the App Store and keep updated on the go.
You can also watch Citi TV on DSTV channel 363 and GoTV channel 182.
My name is Vivian Lokko.
Mine is Umaru Sanda. Amadu. Thank you for watching. Do have a great weekend.